Broadcast is now starting. All attendees are in listen-only mode.
Good afternoon and a warm welcome to all. I'm Ridil on behalf of K Ratings. Welcome you to our today's webinar on film exhibition business. Appreciate your time in joining us for this webinar. Our speakers for today is Mr. Milind Gadkari, Senior Director at K Ratings, and Vahishta Unwalla, Research Analyst from our industry research team. The discussion is in form of a presentation which is visible on your screen. We'll be having a Q&A session no sooner the presentation ends. In case of any queries, you are please requested to key in the questions. May I request Milind sir to begin the proceedings?
Thank you, Mridul. Media and entertainment is a sunrise sector for the Indian economy. Over the past 5 years, it registered a strong growth of 13%, reaching about 1900 billion rupees in calendar year 2019. While India has one of the largest entertainment industries in the world, the media spend as a proportion of country's GDP is still minimal at 0.38%, much lower than the global peers. This is reflective of the huge opportunity that India possesses in years to come. Now I request Vahishta to carry on with the presentation.
Thank you, Milind sir. Dear participants, now onwards we shall be focusing on the film exhibition business in India. Filmed entertainment is the third largest segment in Indian media and entertainment sector in terms of revenue, after television and print. While the industry size has grown over the years, its share in the overall sector has declined marginally due to the manifold growth of other segments such as digital media and online gaming. Film exhibition is a capital-intensive business with heavy investments involved in opening new screens. Further, large variable costs are incurred on maintenance as they require frequent upgradation of technologies. This industry has constantly evolved over the years and changed the way audiences consume content, be it in the form of relaxing on a recliner or watching in 3D glasses or indulging in appetizing food dishes. Going to a cinema is not just an object of entertainment anymore, but a pleasurable experience, which film exhibitors are constantly trying to improve. While India is heavily underpenetrated in terms of number of screens, with concentration in large metro cities, film exhibitors are now penetrating tier 2, 3, and even 4 cities, which are witnessing rapid urbanization and rise in disposable income. Against the backdrop of the ongoing slowdown in various sectors of the country, Indian filmed entertainment industry was one of the very few ones that stood out and shined. It delivered blockbuster movies in past months of financial year 2020. Box office collections in India grew at a compounded annual growth rate of about 13% in the past 5 years. Out of the top 10 all-time high grossers over the years, 7 films were released in the recent 4 years, indicating the growth of content which appeals the viewers. In calendar year 2019, net box office collections grew to 5,600 crore rupees, registering 27% year-on-year growth, while average box office earnings grew 15% year-on-year to 23 crores rupees. In calendar year 2019, top 10 films accounted for 42% share, with Avengers Endgame being the biggest blockbuster of the year, creating a business of about 373 crore rupees in India. The chart on screen refers to the films that made at least 100 crore rupees of box office collections. Analysis of this reveals that the number of films clocking more than 100 crore rupee business of revenues has more than doubled in past 5 years, from 7 to 17. Also, 5 years back, there were just 4 films which reached the 100 crore business within 10 days of its release. However, this number steadily increased over the years and more than tripled in calendar year 2019. Also, in calendar year 2019, 6 Bollywood films registered more than 200 crore rupees of box office collections compared with just 2 films in calendar year 2015. This slide talks about the films which remained the top grossers worldwide. Overseas markets such as China, GCC nations, Taiwan, Malaysia, Hong Kong, UK, etc. have witnessed an increasing appetite for Bollywood movies. Dangal and Secret Superstar, released in 2016 and 2017 respectively, registered total business of close to 2,200 crore rupees in overseas markets. In calendar year 2019, top 5 overseas grossers were War, Bharat, Good News, Gully Boy and Uri the Surgical Strike with cumulative gross collection of 364 crore rupees. The chart on screen depicts 10 Bollywood movies which clocked all-time high worldwide revenues. Analysis of this chart shows that Dangal created the highest ever global box office collection of close to 2,000 crore rupees, with about 3/4 of this coming from the overseas markets. This was also the highest grossing film in China with a collection of about 197 million US dollars. Top 3 movies show an interesting trend where more than half of their box office collections came from overseas market instead of India. Also, all movies include at least one top Bollywood star. Now we move on to the operating matrix of film exhibitors. Box office collections are essentially a mix of movie ticket prices and footfall numbers. Ticket prices usually vary based on show timings, brand of cinema, type of technology used in theaters, location of theater, artists in movies, etc. In this section, we shall look at the operating matrix of 2 leading film exhibitors in the country, including ticket price, occupancy rates, footfalls, seats, number of screens, and properties. Ticket prices rose by about 5% on an average from financial year 2015 to 19. However, 9 months of financial year 2020 data shows that there was a fall in average ticket pricing, largely due to GST rate revisions. Prior to implementation of GST on movie tickets, state governments regulated pricing in their respective states and levied a high entertainment tax, which acted as a major impediment to the growth of film exhibition business and encouraged piracy. Taxes were as high as 50% in key markets such as Maharashtra, Uttar Pradesh, Bihar, and Karnataka. Post the implementation of GST in December 2018, tax structure across the country was rationalized and a single rate was introduced across India. Moving on to the footfalls and occupancy rates. Both players have displayed a similar trend of fall in occupancy rates for financial year 2017 and 18, largely owing to the big economic event that impacted film exhibition business, which is the demonetization of higher denomination Indian currency notes. This event undoubtedly created a cash crunch in the economy, leading to decreased spends by consumers on entertainment related expenses like movie watching, which is reflected in the limited growth in footfalls during the period. Footfalls depend on the number of movie releases and the quality of content. Good content movies usually play out by attracting larger audiences to the theaters. Data for 9 months of financial year 2020 shows that there was a rise in occupancy rates as well as footfalls owing to better content films and the GST implementation on movie tickets, which controlled the hike in average ticket pricing. This slide refers to additions of new seats and screens. Opening new screens is dependent on several factors such as location, cost structure, property, propensity of people residing in nearby locality, preference of language and genre, etc. New screens usually have a gestation period of about 12 to 24 months before they can attract large footfalls. India has a slow and cumbersome regulatory process for approvals of multiplex that is largely controlled by the local municipal bodies, which can lead to about 6 months or more of delay in obtaining a theatre operating license. In addition to this, new screen openings are highly correlated with commercial real estate development in the country. When demonetization hit the economy in November 2016, real estate players started facing liquidity constraints, leading to delays in mall constructions, which came in the way of screen openings. However, with passage of time, the industry returned to normal in financial year 2019 and new screens became operational across the country. About 600 screens, including 121,000 seats, were added cumulatively by the two players between financial year 2015 and 19. Between April and December 2019, about 100 screens with 16,000 seats were added. Cinema chains have started focusing on expansions in Tier 2 and 3 cities where theatre penetration is still at a nascent stage, which is witnessing increased demand due to rapid urbanization and rise in disposable income. Along with this, to improve movie viewing experience of consumers, high capex is being incurred on infrastructure upgradation. Newer and emerging technologies such as IMAX, MX4D, Insignia, and ScreenX are being deployed, which provides a holistic out-of-home entertainment experience. Moving on to the revenue mix of film exhibitors. This slide analyzes the change in revenue mix of the two leading film exhibitors in the past 5 years. The revenues of film exhibitors are essentially a mix of four components: sale of movie tickets, food and beverages, advertisement income, and other income. Other income includes virtual print fee, convenience fee, and miscellaneous services. It is of utmost importance to have the right revenue mix that maximizes revenue per screen for the film exhibitor. The highest proportion of about 50 to 60% of total revenue is contributed by sale of movie tickets, followed by food and beverages contributing about 20 to 30%, advertisement with 10 to 12% share, and the balance is other income. Key sectors that advertise in cinemas are automobile, FMCG, gems and jewelry, telecom, banking, retail, etc. Despite a challenging economic environment, cinemas managed to deliver stable advertising growth in 9 months of financial year 2020, as it is a preferred medium for advertising with the advantage of captive audience, which is not offered in most other mediums such as TV, print, internet. Advertising income can vary depending on show timings, location of screen, movie lineup, etc. Most blockbuster movies are known to attract larger audiences. The chart on screen shows a gradual and definite change of revenue mix over the past 5 years. Overall share of income from sale of movie tickets has declined, which is captured by revenue from food and beverages segment. Food and beverages segment, contributing almost a quarter of total revenue, is of significant importance to film exhibitors and to increase revenues from this segment. Film exhibitors have started offering wide-ranging food menus inclusive of various cuisines, clubbed in attractive combos to induce customers and increase spend per head. Also, certain film exhibitors have recently listed themselves on food delivery apps such as Swiggy and Zomato to offer customers the option of ordering food even if they do not come to the theaters for movie watching. This acts as an additional source of income for film exhibitors. Advertising revenue was impacted by the ICC World Cup and elections in the first quarter of financial year 2020. Along with this, due to an economic slowdown in past few months, industries such as automobile, real estate, banking, and others tightened their advertising spends in cinemas. Because of the convenience offered, an increasing number of individuals have started preferring making payments digitally. To complement this, film exhibitors have entered into partnerships with online ticketing and payment aggregators such as Paytm and BookMyShow, along with offering customers the choice to buy movie tickets through the theater's website or mobile application. Such services benefit customers by eliminating waiting in long ticket buying queues. Also, there are discounts available on online bookings, selection of preferred seats, eliminating the need to carry cash, option for ticket cancellation, loyalty rewards, pre-booking of food and beverages, etc. This also benefits the film exhibitors as it provides them with valuable information on customers' behaviors and preferences in terms of movies, actors, offers, timings, and food and beverages, which helps in creating customized offerings incrementally in order to provide unique experiences to viewers. Film exhibitors have started screening live sports events such as cricket matches during the World Cup season, screening on demand movies, etc. Such add on services help in filling screens during lean periods. Now we move on to the last part of the presentation, which talks about the rising penetration of OTT platforms and its impact on film exhibition business. India has a massive appetite for content consumption, though currently this demand is unsatisfied to a large extent. To fill this gap, the over-the-top market largely unfolded in the past 2 to 3 years with entry of some big players such as Netflix, Amazon Prime Video, Hotstar, Voot, Z5, etc. Undoubtedly, the growing popularity of OTT would have not been possible without the drastic fall in mobile data prices. The previous 2 years witnessed aggressive investment and capex by OTT players for creation of original and differentiated content. OTT players are reportedly spending as much as 1 to 3 crore rupees on producing a single new episode for a series. While OTT platforms offer the convenience of consuming content at any place and time, It cannot replicate the experience that a consumer gets while watching the same movie on an enlarged screen with superior technology and high-end sound systems in a theater. Also, it takes about 8 to 10 weeks for a movie to release on an OTT platform after it has released in a theater screen, which is a sufficient time lag of consuming the same content on the two different mediums. Movie exhibition players can also benefit with increased penetration of OTT as film producers are investing in larger quantities in creating better films for content-hungry consumers, which in turn helps grow film exhibitors' business. Therefore, OTT may not be a direct replacement of the film exhibition business. However, OTT players are also known for producing impressive original content which is not available on any other source of medium. Therefore, this can act as a direct competition to other media segments such as TV and films. OTT players have taken various steps to increase subscriber base, of which one is entering into long-term revenue sharing agreements with telecom players and providing a trial period to users ranging from 1 month to a year. Post the trial period, interested users can opt for a subscription plan, most of which are priced economically in India, compared with global counterparts to support the price-sensitive behavior of Indians. The subscription prices of OTT services of few players is in the chart on the screen. The rising box office collections and increasing footfalls in theaters, along with rising subscriber base of OTT players in recent months, gives us a reason to believe that OTT viewing and cinemas can coexist and are complementing each other. The conclusion from the presentation: financial year 2020 till date was a positive year for the film exhibition industry, with improved footfalls and occupancy rates owing to good content movies that were much appreciated by the audiences and was reflected in the high box office collections during the year. This was amidst a depressed economic environment, which in a way benefited the industry as consumers spent money on small indulges instead of purchasing big ticket luxury items, which is also known as the lipstick effect. Reduction in GST rates on movie ticket prices in December 2018 came in as a breather for theatre goers and Indian film industry as a whole, which was earlier pressurized with high tax rates as much as 50% in key markets such as Maharashtra. Lack of movie screens continues to be one of the biggest impediments to the growth of Indian film industry, and the country is heavily underpenetrated with just about 8 screens per million population. The lower number of screens negatively impacts box office collections of movies released on the same day. China, with a similar population as ours, has an average ticket price of about 300 rupees and double screens compared with India. This is why when Indian movies release in foreign markets, they tend to create a higher box office collection compared with the Indian market. Financial year 2020 has also been a challenging year for corporates due to subdued demand, which led to most companies tightening their advertising outlays. Industries such as automobile, real estate, retail, banking, and finance are the top advertisers in cinemas and have been affected by the current slowdown in the economy. Advertising income for film exhibitors is expected to grow at a sedate pace in myopic future. However, long-term outlook remains positive. While there is a strong pipeline of screen openings for coming months, the ongoing liquidity crunch may impact mall openings, which in turn could further delay screen openings. Thank you.
Thank you, Vahishta. Dear participants, will be taking a break of 2 minutes before we begin a Q&A session. In case of any queries, you are please requested to key in the questions. I repeat, we'll be having a break of 2 minutes before we begin a Q&A session. If you have any queries, you are please requested to key in. Thank you.
Welcome back. The first question is, how do you see the movie business performing in today's day and scenario where large segments of people are witnessing falling disposable income? See, like I mentioned in my presentation, the movie business is actually doing quite well, and this we have seen as financial year 2020 till date has delivered some blockbuster movies, and a lot of them have actually crossed the 100 and 200 crore mark. So, at least for the cinema industry, there's no reason to believe that there is a slowdown. In fact, a slowdown in the economy is actually benefiting the film industry as people tend to limit their spends on small experiences like watching a movie rather than say going on a holiday. Also, again, given that the coronavirus is spreading rapidly, it will benefit the over the top players. However, it could see an impact on the film exhibition business temporarily. Thank you. Next question is, to what extent do you think would the rising penetration of over-the-top platforms affect film exhibition business, as people are increasingly preferring to consume content at their convenience of place and time? See, as of now, there is no data to prove that OTT penetration is actually negatively affecting the film exhibition business, as both segments have shown good growth. Okay, and footfall numbers in cinemas have actually increased, and at the same time, OTT platforms have seen a rise in subscriber base. In fact, producers are investing greater money in creating larger films with better content, which again helps both the segments. However, the original content that we have on these OTT platforms, like some series or certain documentaries, these are not available on any other medium source. So this could be a direct competition to film business. However, as of now, all data that we have suggests that both film exhibition as well as OTT business can coexist and are complementing each other. Also, like I mentioned, given the spread of this coronavirus currently, this will negatively impact film exhibition business in case it also spreads in India, as public places will have to be temporarily shut, which we have seen in China that most theaters have shut down. And in fact, even producers have delayed film release dates. Now, in this situation, over the top players shall benefit. Thank you. Next question is, has the fall in GST rates benefited the film industry? As there is already lesser number of cinemas in the country, and a fall in ticket prices should ideally affect the growth of film industry size. See, when I say that fall in GST rates has benefited cinemas is because larger number of audiences have now started coming to cinemas for watching movies. And this we know because footfalls have gone up. Also, footfalls could go up because there are more screens that are opening in tier 2 and 3 cities, which earlier did not have screens at all. As like I mentioned, India is underpenetrated with lesser number of screens. Earlier, the higher ticket prices were acting as an impediment, or you can say a hindrance for people to go to a cinema. However, now, after the fall in ticket prices due to GST revisions, there is a volume growth. So, in that way, it has benefited the film industry business.
I think there's a last question taken up for the day. There are a couple of queries from Mr. Mukul and Mr. Roshan that probably will be taking up with you individually through email. So Vahishta will reply to you on email. Uh, Okay, there's one more query now, which I think Vahishta can answer this.
Okay, the next question is, has the penetration in tier 1 cities broadly reached saturation, or there is still further room to grow? Will we now mainly see growth coming from expansion in tier 2 and 3 cities? See, I don't think that like I said, that India is still very much underpenetrated in terms of screens. We have just half the number of screens compared with what China has, even though we have similar population as theirs. So I wouldn't say that tier 1 cities has broadly reached saturation. There is still a lot of room for growth. However, you can, given the fact that there are lesser number of screens in other smaller cities of tier 2 and 3, 4 cities, these film exhibitors are now penetrating in those cities so as to get larger audiences. So, answering your question, I do not think that penetration in tier 1 cities has reached saturation. So, there would be newer screens coming in tier 1 as well as tier 2 and 3, 4 cities in the coming months. Thank you.
Thank you. There are no more queries coming in. It's probably that was the last question taken up for the day. Thank you for being a part of this Care Ratings webinar. We hope it was insightful. For any feedback, suggestion, you can please welcome to write to us in the comment box, which will be coming no sooner the webinar ends. Thank you and goodbye for now.